Perfection. Humankind has strived for it since the dawn of our existence. It is in our nature to be the best. We want to look the best, feel the best, be the strongest, own the biggest house, the fastest car. We want to be perfect. We need to be perfect. We have now finally achieved total perfection. Science has given us the opportunity to be the best we can be. It was not always like this, though. We'll take you back through time to a place where imperfection was everywhere and no two people were the same. We'll take you back through the history of perfection. Charles Darwin is well known for creating the theory of evolution that is generally accepted even today. Almost 300 years ago, Charles Darwin presented his idea about life and its journey through the ages. In his book, The Origin of Species, Darwin revealed his theory. He believed that evolution happens through a process called survival of the fittest. This is also known as natural selection. How this process works is that only the fittest and most adapted animal for the environment will survive. For example, birds may be eating a particular species of white moth. By a fortunate genetic deformity, several moths may have been green or another darker colour. These moths would blend into the leaves on a tree, while all of the white moths were being eaten. The surviving green moths would then breed and pass on their genetic deformity. The species of white moth is now a species of green moth. These days, people are taking natural selection into their own hands, creating designer humans and making clones to be used as slaves. Although human engineering wasn't common or even legal back in the late 20th or earlier 21st century, the genetic engineering of plants was, and it all started back in the 1990s. Many different types of plants have been genetically modified over the last 200 years, including watermelon-flavoured carrots, bananas with corn inside, and the fabled screaming onion, which was made by Mexican ex-mental patient Federico Diaz. But there was a GM crop created far before this, back in 1994 in fact. This is the Flavor Saver tomato. It was released for sale to the public in 1994 without being labelled as a genetically changed food. It was sold with moderate success. The hook of the fruit was that it could survive on the shelf for longer than any type of tomato and was pest resistant. It was the first step towards a synthesized perfection, but the next step was to be one of the greatest leaps in the field of genetic science. Cloning is now quite simple, but it was a breakthrough discovery in the late 20th century. The first mammal to be cloned was a sheep. This sheep was created in 1996 through a method called somatic cell nuclear transfer. This method is very different to the one used today. Today, cloning machines are quite common and only takes a few days to produce a fully developed human being. In the past, the only way to clone was to replicate natural conception. The way it worked was that the nucleus from an unfertilized egg was removed and replaced with the nucleus from an adult cell. This egg was then stimulated to divide with an electric shock and placed inside a surrogate mother, who would then give birth to a clone of the original animal. Over the past 200 years, this method was improved and developed further, until cloning was where it is now. Dolly the sheep was the start to a wave of discoveries and breakthroughs in the mid-21st century. Dolly was the next big step to building a perfect society. Fast forward 65 years to a vastly different world. The public was banging on the doors of the government to give cloning a chance. So on the 3rd of May 2061, the UN gave in and legalized cloning. Just over 1 year later, two scientists created a government-funded company. They named it the Geno Corporation, and since then it has been the biggest producer and distributor of human clones in the world. Geno Corp created the first human clone in a lab in Switzerland, and with it came the introduction of clone rights. Clones became extremely popular and have been ethically accepted ever since. Just after the turn of the century, the Geno Corporation moved on to a new concept. concept. Designer humans, perfect in every way, strong, powerful, and good-looking, while intelligent, witty, and disease-free. Designer humans gave parents the power to choose the child that they want and not leave anything to chance. Over time, designer humans became accepted in society as people. Gradually everybody moved over to designer humans. This was the greatest and largest step towards the perfect race that we have today. Natural births became less common in the mid-2130s, and then became illegal in 2152. This new law has virtually wiped all forms of disease and imperfections from the human race. But do we really want to live in a place where nobody has a funny quirk, bizarre sense of humor, or even a voice like mine? Is this really the direction we want to take the human race?